What's going on, guys? Not sure if you guys have seen the announcement, but Liquid RON is coming to Ronin, and I wanted to make a video to try my very best to explain how Liquid RON works. Now, this could be a bit of a confusing concept, so hang tight. I'm going to try to hit this at as many angles as possible so that you can hopefully at least grasp what Liquid RON is, and then also see the potential of things that it can bring for DeFi in the Ronin ecosystem. Got to give a shout out to OwlOfMoistness. He will be the one building out this protocol. So let's get to it. So here on my diagram, we have our beautiful RON tokens. I have this owl to represent Owl Protocol. I'm not sure what he's going to call it, but it's going to be what is going to be kind of creating, producing, and controlling LRON. So as a brief, just because of the name, LRON, I'm calling it LRON because I'm assuming that's what it's going to be called for Liquid RON. The purpose of it is so that you're able to stake your RON, earn the rewards, but also be able to use it. So the most basic version of an explanation, it's a coupon that represents your RON staked plus its rewards. So let me show you how it looks like a little bit in a diagram. So imagine day one of the LRON protocol, the Owl protocol. You commit your RON to the pool. In return, you will be given 1 LRON. So I have it in purple just so it can be a little different from the RON here. So on day one, it's a 1-to-1 ratio because there's nothing in the pool, nothing has been earned, and you've been issued the coupon that represents the RON you staked. However, if we look at RON staking at around 10% APR, after a year, you would have 1.1 RON, but you would still hold the 1 LRON. So after a year, if you were to return your LRON, you would get 1.1 RON in return. So this LRON is your staked RON, but it's just more in a more simpler form. Now, how to really grasp it is understanding ratios. And this is usually where we lose people and it can get a little confusing. So again, at the very beginning, the ratio is 1-to-1 because there's no rewards that have been earned. However, let's say after a year, now this starts after like day one, but after a year, to make it simple, we have a different ratio. 1 LRON is now worth 1.1 RON. Here I have the 10-to-11. So that also means that roughly 0.9, make it a little smaller, of a LRON equals 1 full RON. Now, why am I getting into math for you guys? Travis, I know you didn't sign up for a math class, but this is important because there will be multiple times, periods of time when people commit RON. Not everybody's going to rush in on day one. Some people might rush in on year 2, year 3. So what that means is if we're getting to, I guess, year 2, if this example was year 1, and somebody committed RON to the protocol, to the Owl protocol, they would only get 0.9 RON back. Just because now LRON is a little more powerful than RON because it's been gathering rewards over time. On a technical level, and I don't really like going deep into this, the Owl protocol is really just a big, large RON staking pool that's earning a whole bunch of RON rewards. And your LRON is a coupon representing a percentage of this pool that you own, right? But the cool thing is that's kind of the technical ratio. You could rewind that, take a second, absorb it. But ideally, all you got to know is your RON, when you hold LRON, it is automatically RON staked for you in a pool. And at any time, you can go in, claim it, and get the RON plus the rewards. You also got to know that if you're holding LRON and you decide to send your friend an LRON, they would also be getting the percentage of the pool, which is your RON and your rewards attached to it. So the coolest part about this is that it's a token that you can move around that represents RON and the staked RON. Why this is cool is because now this can be used in DeFi, different DeFi protocols. For example, the first thing is new LP pools. So you go on Katana, you can actually have your LRON and RON and put it as a liquidity pair. Why this is cool is because there's virtually no impermanent loss in this pair because they're both RON as a base and the price of the RON kind of flows almost identical minus the little bit of staking rewards, but it's almost identical, so there's virtually no impermanent loss. So there's a good way that you can gather trading fees between RON and LRON. However, the question is, why would you need to trade between RON and LRON when you can just lock it and get it yourself? I'm not sure what the rules of redemption rules that are going to be for the OWL protocol, but I'm assuming because of the staking lock, there will be a 3-day redemption rule. So as in, if you have LRON and you want to redeem the RON plus rewards, you probably have to wait 3 days. So for those that are maybe urgent or in an urgent need to sell their LRON or swap their LRON for RON, they would be looking for a liquidity pool that would do the switch. So this can add a little bit of price differentiation between LRON and RON because it's almost like a small convenience fee of not having to wait the 3 days to get your RON back. So that's going to be a cool pair that's going to be added, I'm sure, to the Katana DEX or whatever DEX has come when Ronin goes permissionless. And it will be a pair that'd be kind of lucrative because on one side, you're earning staking rewards. The other side, you're not earning staking rewards, but you are earning trading fees. So if the trading fees are higher than the staking rewards, it might be worth, getting into this LP, especially that no impermanent loss or virtually no impermanent loss is in this LP. Another thing is that it opens up for deeper DeFi protocols. Let me get to you another example for you. So another cool thing is if you combine different DeFi protocols. Let's take MetaLend and Impossible Finance. You can hold a whole bunch of LRON that is staked RON, earning you rewards passively at around 10%. You can use it as collateral, so you lock it up on MetaLend, and you can borrow typically up to half of its value. So if all your LRON totals to about $1,000, you would be able to borrow up to $500. Maybe you'll be joining an Impossible Fi launchpad, getting some of the tokens, getting your ROI, paying back MetaLend, and unlocking your LRON. So this is a cool way that you have your RON staked and you're able to use it in some way. Now, getting into a position like this is using a form of leverage, so you are increasing your risk. There is a risk of liquidation. There's lending fees that you have to pay attention to. But the point is, the RON that you have locked and now into LRON can still be used for other things. All your money is not just trapped in Ronin validators and you're just waiting for the rewards. Another thing that's popular, and I can show you guys examples in the other ecosystem, is actually to do loop staking. Now, I've done a video on how to do this manually, but with LRON, it'll make it a lot easier. Similar with MetaLend, you can lock all your LRON to them. You could even lend it out to them, and you'll be able to borrow against it. So here, again, I have 8 LRON, so I'll probably be able to borrow up to 4 RON. Now, some people like to then convert this into LRON. So I turn these into these and restake it so that I can borrow another probably 2 or 3 and kind of loop it again. Now, again, these are earning staking rewards. So I'm turning unstaked RON into staked RON and loop staking it. Now, people do this a little crazy, but it is something to do as long as the lending rates are lower than the APY of your RON staking. You can do this quite a few times with, diminishing deposits, but you can do it quite a few times. I think there's a math formula to how many times you can restake, but I'm not going to get into that. So that's something else that's pretty cool. And what makes this very possible, especially for MetaLend, is that if you get liquidated, there needs to be a quick way to liquidate you, and that goes all the way back to the LPing. So this is why LPing is important. This LP pool needs to be large enough that it can swallow up a large liquidation for protocols to feel comfortable using it. So this pair is going to be very, very crucial if we want to see LRON in a lot of DeFi protocols. Carrying on, I think I have one more example. The other thing is, some people call it restaking. Some people call it liquid. Yeah, liquid restaking. There's different names for it. And actually right now it's possible with Zentry's staked Zent. So the example I have is SoFon right now. Right now, you cannot stake your LRON there, but you can stake your staked Zent. So there is already a liquid staking token for Zent. It's just not as popular just yet on the Ronin ecosystem. But some protocols just need liquidity. So you'll be able to send your liquid RON, you'll be able to bridge it to other places, you can deposit it in different networks and earn some of the network tokens. SoFon is unreleased yet, but I believe they have their SOF token coming out for those who stake their tokens on their network. I'll show you how it looks. As you can see, here's the staked Zent. So this would be very similar to like LRON. You lock it in their protocol and you're earning their tokens once it releases. So I think there are going to be places like that. I'm not sure how heavy some of the DeFi things are going to come. I don't know how many new networks are going to get whipped up and might need some liquidity and will be asking for LRON to be sent. Maybe one of these ZK EVMs from one of these games are going to be like, hey, we need some RON liquidity. Bring your LRON, just hold it in our network and we'll give you guys tokens. There's a lot of these liquidity farming opportunities in DeFi. Anyways, this is a very long video showing you guys a lot of things. I hope it helps a little bit. I'm sure there's going to be multiple ways that I can help clarify this just a little bit. Hope you got just enough of an understanding. Of course, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll help you out. Thanks for listening to me ramble, and we'll see you in the next video.